welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to make a new recipe. Homemade crockpot apple butter. I was given a bunch of apples by my neighbor, a lot more than this. And I started by cutting up and coring my apples. I don't have an apple core, so I just use my knife and I just cut on the sides. I'm just going to show you how I cut one of the apples and not make you watch me cut up all of the apples that my neighbor gave me. So I just cored them and then cut them. Some of the slices were the same. Some were a little thicker, but it doesn't matter because they're all going in the crock pot. So I cut up all of my apples, made sure there were no bad spots, made sure there were no seeds. And then I gathered them up and put them all into the crock pot. Now, you can use whatever kind of apple you want. These were just apples. I honestly don't even know what they were. But I put them all in the crock pot. Now, these are all the apples. And they're kind of heaped over. Now, I'm going to add the spices. Some cinnamon. As you can see, I had already started. And I just kind of use my seasonings or spices with my heart. Probably 2 tablespoons of cinnamon there, maybe 3. Some allspice, ground allspice. Sometimes the stuff doesn't shake out well as easily as the cinnamon. So I was trying to figure out how to get the allspice out. But I used about a tablespoon of allspice. Some ground nutmeg. Now, ground nutmeg you want to watch, because if you can get too much nutmeg in, it can make your recipe bitter. So I used about a half a tablespoon of nutmeg, ground nutmeg.
Yeah.
And then I don't show it, but I also put some ground clove in there later on. But I just add my spices with my heart. And I'm not sure what happened to my camera, but I had thought I had filmed me putting the 1 cup of white sugar over the apples. But apparently I didn't record and recorded this instead. But anyway, I added 1 cup of white sugar and just kind of sprinkled it all over the top of the apples. And now you see me, I'm looking for my brown sugar because I use white and brown sugar. And I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm like, where did I put this brown sugar that I just bought? I finally find it. And again, I didn't, for some reason, video me putting the 2 cups of brown sugar in because now I'm clipping the brown sugar back together. So, but anyway, I added 2 cups of firmly packed brown sugar, light brown sugar, and sprinkled it all over the apples as well. And then I set the temperature on high because you want these apples to cook down. And then once they cook down, about 4 hours later, I go in with my immersion blender and I blend them up, get all the chunks out, make sure all those fibers in that apple, because I didn't peel my apples, but I use my immersion blender to blend them up. And then it will continue to cook on high for quite a while because it will reduce and get thick. And it has to cook for a while. I cooked for 10 hours after I blended them. But see, you want your crock pot on high. But this is really kind of a set it and forget it apple butter. I make sure my lid is pushed down good. And then I just let it cook for 10 hours. And then I ladled them into my sterilized jars and left about 1 inch of headspace. And now they're ready for the water bath. Now, as you can see, I got my jars in there, but my water's not quite at a complete rolling boil. So I'm not going to start my timer yet. But I'm going to put my lid back on, and I'm going to let it come to a rolling boil. Now you can see, there it is. So now I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes for the water bath. And then let it do its thing for 10 minutes. And this is what seals my lids. Now my timer's off. Okay. I'm going to turn my burner off. You can see that steam just coming out of that canner. And I'm going to let it sit for a couple of minutes so that boil will go down. So now my 10 minutes is complete. Now, when you open this lid, make sure you open it away from your face because all of that steam's going to come out. You don't want that rolling up in your face because that's some hot steam. So now, my jars are ready to come out. And that water is really hot. So if you have canning equipment, you have these tongs, which mine are not really good tongs because I'm trying to film and I'm trying to get my cans out at the same time. And I realized, okay, I can't do that. So I had to put my camera down and I pulled my jars out using this, which took 2 hands. So I will be getting me a different one that I can use with just 1 hand. And I set my jars on and they're going to sit here for 12 hours. And almost immediately they started pinging and sealing. As you can see, the majority of these have already pulled their seals down. And the little hump in the middle has caved in. But that's how you know it's sealed. All of them, except for one, this one here, that one was not down. It wasn't ready. But I'm going to let these sit here for 12 hours. I'm not going to touch them. My husband's not going to touch them. And then tomorrow when I come in, I will take the rings off if they're all stored and put them in the cabinet. Not all stored. If they're all sealed. So, thanks for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe because it really helps my channel. And stay tuned for the next edition at Buckeye Country. Have a great day.